Are you someone who leaves a conversation thinking, why did I say that? This video is for you. I used to be someone who would overthink things a lot, overthink my interactions with other people, what I said, how I acted, and I have pretty much learned to stop doing that. I thought this was a characteristic of mine that was just the way I am, but actually I've learned through these techniques we're going to talk about that I do not have to be an overthinker. Let's talk about how you can get to that place too. Something that I found to be really helpful to stop overthinking is to ground myself in the present moment. So very often when we're overthinking, at least what I have found is that I'm either thinking of something that happened in the past or something that's going to happen and I'm worrying about it. I'm overthinking different possibilities. Those kind of future-based ones I in my head call what if questions, and then the past ones where I'm thinking, why did I say that? I've forgotten to do this thing. What if they misunderstood what I said? I call them oh no thoughts. So I've got what if thoughts and oh no thoughts. Neither of these are particularly helpful because they start off this cycle of overthinking. And you might think, if I have an oh no thought, for example, oh no, I forgot to charge my phone overnight, just something really small like that. You might think, oh, that's helpful because it can then encourage me to take action. But the feeling that it's giving me, it's not like a organized or productive feeling. It's like this panicky, oh no, what have I done? Like, what have I missed kind of feeling. So it's not very helpful being in the present moment. You are focused on what is happening now and you're not getting caught up in those anxious feeling states of what if or oh no. One thing that helps with this is to do lots of deep breathing. You may have been recommended to do this by lots of people. The reason is because it works, but I know that's maybe an annoying thing to hear. And when I am overthinking, those deep breaths can bring me back to now. I did a whole video about 3 breathing exercises that have really helped me, so I'll link that video for you if you want to hear more about deep breathing. Such an important thing for me, literally every day. It's something that I turn to if I am starting to spiral a bit or overthink things. I think the other reason deep breathing is helpful is I talked a bit about the feeling states, the panicky feeling states of oh no or what if. Deep breathing reminds me that I am safe now. So sometimes I will obsess or overthink about things that I did in the past, and I'm in recovery from addiction, so there are lots of things both that I did but also things that could have gone really, really badly wrong. And so if I fixate on those thoughts, or if those thoughts come up and I can so easily get caught into overthinking about this, being like, oh my gosh, what would have happened there? I can't believe this didn't happen or this did happen. I can, even just talking about it now and thinking of the memories, feel myself tensing up. So deep breathing brings me back to now, and particularly if you get, like I was just describing, any kind of intrusive thoughts that are really scary, which I guess is what intrusive thoughts are, but I know that we can sometimes like misuse language and think that an intrusive thought is just like, why don't I throw my phone out of the window? When actually an intrusive thought is quite often a really dark, violent thought that is quite disturbing. That to me is a kind of overthinking that used to happen because of my addiction. And one thing that really helped me is to just repeat to myself, I'm safe now. I would have these things replaying in my mind. It would be really disturbing. But doing the deep breathing and then just telling myself over and over, I'm safe now, and trying to get away from that panicky feeling into this feeling of safety and calm, which I can bring about through the deep breathing, has been really helpful to stop me overthinking. So ground yourself in the present moment, stop getting caught up in the past or in the future. Try to stay in the now. The next thing to stop overthinking is to love and accept yourself. This has helped me a lot because so much of the things that I tend to overthink are related to ways that I've acted, what I said in a particular conversation, if I articulated myself well enough, if this person understood what I meant, or if they could have misunderstood what I said. I can overthink all of these things, so accepting myself as I am has helped me to stop overthinking. I know that sometimes I can say silly things that could be misinterpreted. I know that I don't necessarily have the best social skills as an introvert, so sometimes I might misinterpret what they said, and I might only recognise that afterwards and be like, oh, I thought they were joking when they said that, but they weren't joking. And so that's an easy thing for me to look back on and be like, oh, why am I like that? Why am I so silly? Why couldn't I see that they weren't joking? They were actually being serious or sincere. I can overthink that really easily, but there is no point in me doing that. I just have to accept the fact that I am sometimes someone who doesn't pick up on social cues. I've done a video about self-acceptance, about how you can't control how you're perceived, so I will link that for you if you want to check that out. I am mainly in my family surrounded by extroverts, so for a long time I felt like I wasn't good enough or there was something wrong with me, and there's not. Like, yes, the world is built for extroverts, so it would be a lot easier for me if I was an extrovert, but I'm not, and just accepting that and being not necessarily even happy about that. I mean, there are lots of things that I am happy being an introvert. That's a whole separate video. Not even being happy about it, just kind of being neutral, like, oh, this is just who I am. Having that acceptance, trying to love myself and understand myself. Why am I acting like this in situations? Why do I tend to say things that are misunderstood? That has helped me to stop overthinking, because it's taking away one of the main things that I used to overthink about, which is like, oh, what if they said this wrong, or what if they think this, why am I like this, why did I behave like that, or why did I say that, why did I think they were joking when they weren't? All of these questions, it's like a daily thing, so don't worry if today you really feel annoyed about the fact that you are a certain way. It's something that you can keep working on and keep coming back to. The things that I've found are really helpful in terms of self-acceptance and to try and help you stop overthinking are journaling every day, just writing about the way you feel. There are so many like different journal prompts you can use. Just ask yourself a different question. Ask yourself how you felt today in your body, like different sensations that you felt in terms of, did you feel anger, and did you feel that like in your pounding heart? Did your feet hurt? Did you get a headache because you were crying? Really connecting to your body goes back to being in the present moment. I've got a whole playlist of journaling videos that I've done because I love journaling, so I've talked a lot about it on my channel, so I'll leave that playlist for you if you want to check out some of those journaling videos. I also think having some kind of a self-care journal or a self-care habit tracker can be really helpful to build on that acceptance that we talked about and that self-love. The fact that you are a certain way, and to just kind of celebrate yourself, take some time for yourself every day, whether it's to just take some time to put some makeup on, to have a nice bath and read in the bath, or put some candles on and listen to some nice music, buy yourself some flowers. So much you can do. I also think gratitude is helpful here, because when you're grateful for the way you are, or you're grateful for all you have, you're more focused on that feeling of gratitude as opposed to wishing you were something else or wishing you weren't the way that you are. Gratitude is really helpful in that regard. And helpful for stopping overthinking as well, because when you're grateful for something, again, you're not focusing on all of the what ifs, all of the oh no's, you're just focused on that thing. You're focused on, oh, I had a lovely time with my friend today, we went out for a walk, or we went for coffee, we went for dinner, I had a nice time. You're focused on the gratitude, on the experience itself, as opposed to all the things around it, like, oh, I should have talked to them about this, or was I reassuring enough in this? All of these questions, all of these overthinking tendencies, they can be managed through gratitude. I would say another thing that helps is to put yourself in situations unprepared. This might sound counterintuitive, but it's a question of practice. So this goes back to like the acceptance of yourself. So I can overthink conversations, which maybe you can as well. So if I'm putting myself in a situation where I'm unprepared, normally like going into something, I might have ideas of what I want to talk about or questions I need to ask this person, but it's really good practice if you want to stop overthinking. So like answer the phone if someone calls you out of the blue. Stop and talk to someone who's walking their dog if they're, like I do this a lot when I'm walking my dog. It's just become very normal. And I was thinking about this morning as I was walking the dog. I was like, oh my gosh, a little over a year ago I started taking the dogs on a morning walk, and at first I felt really not self-conscious, but I was like, oh my gosh, what are we going to talk about if I bump into someone? Like I'd be kind of trying to avoid people. Whereas now it's just so easy because of practicing talking to strangers. That sounds strange, but I think like if you just put yourself in these situations where you are going to have to interact and you might say something that you think, oh my gosh, why did that, like why did I say that? The more you do this, the less it will bother you, because you will be having more interactions, more practice with talking to people, and there won't be so much time to overthink. You'll have a conversation, maybe you say something silly or they don't understand what you mean, but then you walk away, and it's then also like you have a choice. You can be like, I'm gonna obsess about this, or I'm gonna fixate on the fact that I said this thing wrong, or as I'm walking away from this interaction with my dogs and they're walking off with their dogs, I'm then like, oh, that was nice, like I just had a nice conversation. They're probably going to forget about this. If they don't, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to carry on with my day. There is an element of choice. Not always. I did talk about intrusive thoughts at the beginning, but sometimes there is an element of choice to it. It's kind of like exposure therapy in that the more you practice having these unprepared conversations where you're not ready to talk to people, you've not prepared what you're going to say, you've not thought about what you're going to say or the topics that you're going to bring up, the more you do that, the less it's going to bother you afterwards, because you're just going to move on with your day. You're not going to overthink it and go round and round in your head thinking, why did I say that? Because you're just going to be like, oh, that was nice, and move on. I would say focus on what you can control in terms of overthinking. So deep breathing will help with this, just to get out of that like panicky overthinking feeling. But I think sometimes we can overthink things, whether it's a conversation, a situation, something that we need to do. We can overthink it because we are procrastinating it, or because we don't want to take action. So it can feel productive to overthink about this thing, thinking that you're going to find a solution, or thinking that you're going to find confidence or get the motivation to act, when really overthinking will not bring you any of those things. The only way that you're going to move forward is to take action, whether it's to pick up the phone when someone calls, have that conversation with the person walking their dogs, take action and tackle whatever you're procrastinating instead of overthinking about it. It is hard, like I'm not saying any of this flippantly. I have done a video about procrastination. If you want to check that out, I will leave it in the cards. I think also if you let go of the need to control things, that will help you to stop overthinking. This is the flip side. Focus on what you can control, let go of what you can't. I think we can use overthinking sometimes as a way of trying to not manipulate, but trying to put a buffer between the way that we feel and the way that other people react. And realistically, there's not really much you can do in terms of the way that people are going to react or perceive you, especially if we're talking about just bumping into someone, saying hello on a dog walk. You have no idea about anything about that person. You can't have any kind of expectation about the way that they're going to perceive you. So if you can let go of that concern about what are they gonna think, that will help you as well. I've done a couple videos about how to stop caring what other people think. It's tied into so many different things. Overthinking is linked to everything. I will leave my video, You Are the One That's Making Life Hard, because I think that links quite nicely to this one. I will also link how to enter your unbothered era. Being unbothered, how stopping caring what people think about you will help you to stop overthinking, stop fixating on what's going wrong, and instead just focus on your job of being you. Thank you so much for watching. God bless, and I'll see you in the next one.